Welcome back to This Week. Time now to get the views of our media and political experts, Vice President of MMA Creative and Democratic Operative Mike Kopp, and syndicated talk show host Steve Gill. Welcome, gentlemen. Nice to see you all again. Democrats brought in the big gun, former President Bill Clinton, this week to help Mike McWherter as he begins his fall campaign. This will re-energize the Democratic base, no doubt about it. He's popular here in Tennessee on the South with Democrats. Does it do much more than that for Haslam, for McWherter as he takes on Haslam?
Well, let's not forget that Bill Clinton carried Tennessee both times he ran it for president. And what we know from polling is that he's incredibly popular, not only with the Democratic base, with independents. And there's more independents in Tennessee these days than there were even when he ran for president. And I think his message, his legacy of being a kind of a fiscal conservative and getting the budget where it was, resonates now today when we're concerned about budget deficits and we're concerned about jobs.
I think the challenge is how do you energize that base when you can't bring in the president because nobody even in Wisconsin wants to be seen with him. You can't really bring in any of the kind of national party leadership. In fact, Mike McWherter is wanting to localize the race, not let it be nationalized at all. So I think it's a little bit of a mistake to bring in Clinton when you don't raise a bunch of money with him. Sometimes it's a trade-off in politics. You bring in a character that may have some good sides, bad sides, but if you raise enough money, it doesn't matter. In this case, they really didn't even use it as a fundraising vehicle, so they didn't pull a big crowd and didn't raise a lot of money, and I think you got to do both.
Well, I will correct you. They did have a fundraising element. It had a high-end dollar thing. After the president spoke, he went and had pictures and met with some people.
Fundraising.
So there was fundraising involved in it. But, the McWherters and the Clintons go back a number of years. There's that friendship. Clinton likes coming and campaigning in Tennessee. He wanted to come back and campaign for Mike, so, it is what it is.
Polls do show Haslam ahead by double digits, sometimes as much as 20% in this race. We've got 2 months to go. Is it time for McWherter to really get this campaign ramped up if he's going to be competitive?
The fact of the matter is, polls mean what they mean. Right now, this race is going to come down to who runs the strongest with the most effective message in October. I mean, that's really what historically happens. Early voting starts a couple of weeks into October. Really, October is the month when people start looking at this thing. There is still an incredibly large number of undecideds, even among the Republicans that you look at and poll. And I think this race is not over yet, and I think October is going to be a really busy month for both candidates.
We're a month from early voting, and when you haven't begun the branding process, Mike McWherter has virtually no name recognition across the state other than who his dad was. None of that really attaches to him, and it's been 20 years since his dad was on the ballot. So there is not a connection with Tennessee voters yet of who he is, and the clock is ticking on what he can do to define who he is. And when you're running, it's the same sort of problem I think that the Republican candidates in the Republican primary had with Bill Haslam. He's got an unlimited checkbook. I mean, his best campaign vehicle is the anytime teller machine, and you just can't match the money that he's going to be able to pour in the last 6 weeks of this campaign. I think you're going to see that start to stretch out.
Another factor, though, Bob, is the fact that the Democratic Party is united behind one candidate. Republicans, I think, are still having issues. Just this week, Zach Wamp made a snide remark in a public meeting about tax increases that Bill Haslam did when he was mayor. I don't know that all the healings that needs to happen in the Republican Party has happened.
It's been extraordinarily quiet with still only 8 weeks to go. We're going to start ramping it up here pretty soon.
Absolutely.
The other big issue here in Nashville specifically is the convention center and the Omni Hotel deal. Mayor Karl Dean is starting to get a little bit of flack and some eyebrows raised from Metro Council members over his plan to use tax money from other businesses to help pay for part of the Omni Hotel coming to Music City. Less than what Marriott wanted, but still going to be some taxpayer dollars.
I think the challenge is you have to have the hotel. You had to have it privately financed, not financed by the city. That simply wasn't going to fly. And if you couldn't find a way to finance it privately, not having a hotel wasn't an option. So they had to play some funny business with the numbers to get it done, and that's simply the trade-off of moving ahead with what's going to be about $1 billion project in terms of what taxpayers are on the line for, in terms of the cost of the overall deal. I'm still not convinced it's the right move, but it would be the incredibly wrong move not to have the hotel.
Well, I think it's all about the end game result, and I think the result is going to be that hotel is going to bring in people to support that convention center, and we're going to have more dollars pouring in here that will offset any kind of investment made with property taxes.
We'll see. That's the challenge of at a time when you're seeing
historically we've seen that happen.
You've seen it, but you're also seeing historically that convention business is going down all over the country. And again, we're one terror attack from the same thing after 9/11, where the tourism industry absolutely was devastated. We're on the hook no matter what when that happens. We had a great facility at a time when we already had a private facility in Gaylord. We had the public facility downtown. Did we need to make the investment?
We still don't know, as we tape on Friday, whether the Quran was being burned in Florida. Some other folks around the country say they're going to do it. So it looks like, as we tape on Friday, tomorrow, Saturday, this will happen in some places. This is beginning to get dangerous. Some folks could get hurt. These are rights for people to do this, but is this really the way we want to go as we continue this controversy of a mosque in New York City?
You know, to me, there's a big difference between wanting to make a political statement and then just doing something incredibly stupid. And I think when we hear people talk about doing the kinds of things they want to do, burning the Koran, burning the Bible, whatever it is they want to do, it's incredibly stupid. It incites violence. It's the wrong message to send. I'm hoping that cooler heads will prevail, both in this country and overseas, and people will see it for what it is, a bunch of ignorant people doing stupid things.
Look, we shouldn't be burning anybody's books, anybody's religious documents, but at the same time, we weren't burning Korans when we were attacked on 9/11. And I'm more disturbed by the fact that you've got this imam of the Ground Zero Mosque who's basically threatening America that if you don't let us build this where we want to build it, bad things will happen. America shouldn't be cowed or intimidated into allowing a mosque that is a constitutional right but is not right, any more than we should allow burning of Korans that are a constitutional right but are not the right thing. Both groups need to back off.
Steve Gill, Mike Kopp, appreciate your insight and your time. Stay with us. This week continues in a moment.